I just finished reading this book called Teeth by Hannah Moskowitz. It was basically about this guy named Rudy, and his brother is really sick, so him and his family go to this island where they supposedly have these fish that can cure illnesses, and there are other people on this island too. And there's also this myth that there's this fish person, there's this mythical fish demon that lurks in the waters, and you should be afraid. And so life is very boring for him, mundane, he's just living day by day. So Rudy's just like walking one day, and then he sees said fish demon, and he's like a fish boy, and they like start talking, and then it develops into something kind of beautiful and weird. And then also he meets this girl Diana, which is the only other girl on the island, or maybe even person on the island that's close to him in age. And she's very like, I guess, sheltered. She doesn't really leave the house. Her mother's very, how do you say, I don't know, wary maybe. I'm gonna spoil it because it's freaking crazy. So basically, and this is weird, okay guys, this is like magical realism. I think this might even be just fantasy. I'm gonna be talking about rape and sexual assault, and it's also like very weird. So basically, Diana's mom was in the ocean one day. So Diana's mom was already at this island, and she was in the water, and her dad always told her like, hey, stay clear of the water, be careful. She still goes into the water. Next thing you know, this fish is like comes up around her and literally like dives up into her vagina. And so essentially they say that she got raped by the fish, and then the fish impregnated her, and then she had the child, and he didn't have any legs. And so Diana's mom was raising this boy, and he would always be crying. He was just half a boy, that's what they said. And then all of a sudden he started growing scales, a tail, and so she threw him out into the ocean because she was like, I don't know what else to do. And he was saying that he wanted to go home every night. He was screaming every night. So Diana's mom throws into the ocean. Diana's mom meets a guy and then has Diana. So the boy that Diana's mom threw into the ocean, that's the boy that Rudy meets. Did I even say what his name was? Guys, that's the boy that Rudy meets in the ocean that one day. And so him and the fish get to talking. Rudy notices that the fish, his name is Teeth, hence the title of the book. Rudy notices that Teeth always has these bruises on him and always just looks pretty beat up. He finally tells Rudy that the fishermen rape him at night, and that's like the screaming that Rudy always hears, and everyone says that it's just the wind, but it's Teeth screaming because he's getting raped by the fishermen. And he tells Rudy he's always been able to escape, and Rudy says like, why do you allow them to do this to you? He has really like long sharp teeth, and he always like gets away from them. So Rudy's like, well, why don't you just like kill them? And he's like, no, like the fishermen are the only thing that I have. Teeth, he can't really, he's half fish, half boy, so he can't really like breathe underwater and live underwater like regular fish. So like he can hold his breath for like I think 3 minutes. So it's kind of like messed up, I guess. So he says he doesn't have anything to live for but like the fishermen and what they do to him, and that's the thing that keeps him going. And also the other fish, the fish that everyone comes to the island for a cure, saving them and keeping them away from the people is also his mission. That kind of is conflicting for Rudy because Rudy keeps following Teeth because they've like developed such a connection with each other, and Teeth tells Rudy like, hey, let's go and release the fish from the fishermen. But like what Rudy doesn't realize in that moment until after he's helped Teeth release the fish is that it's hurting his family, it's hurting his brother who needs the fish to survive. And if he doesn't get the fish, then like his condition gets worse. He has cystic fibrosis. It's this real like battle for Rudy between like helping Teeth and helping his brother. If he helps Teeth, then that puts his brother and also the people on the island who need the fish in harm's way. And then if he doesn't help Teeth, then Teeth gets mad at him for not helping the fish, which he calls his brothers and sisters, and Teeth hates him. And for Rudy, Teeth is like the only thing that keeps him going. Like towards the end of the book, he says, you saved me, and he's like, whatever, because Rudy like almost died and Teeth actually saved him. But Rudy was talking about like first time they met, Teeth was flirting with him and they started this connection. That's why it's very conflicting for Rudy because he low-key loves Teeth. Like he never said it, but you can feel it. But yeah, it's like very bittersweet, but like the connection between Teeth and Rudy is so sweet, and I'm like, am I really rooting for a fish and a human to get together? Something's off. And then Rudy also has this connection with Diana, kind of. He doesn't really mess with her as much as he messes with Teeth, but like they kiss sometimes, and he kind of just uses her to get more information on Teeth because Diana and Teeth are technically half siblings. This book ends though with Teeth killing the fisherman that captured him and literally borderline almost killed him, and then Diana tells the whole town that Teeth killed the fisherman and everyone wants to kill Teeth, and then Rudy goes and says you need to leave, and he does. And now Rudy is like kind of taking up the fisherman role and collecting all the fish, but everyone kind of like gets their own fish now. But as for my thoughts on the book, I think it's pretty sweet. It was very like weird and interesting. I was not expecting this whatsoever. I thought everyone was human, and then I see that Rudy is falling in love with this boy who has a tail. So this was definitely interesting, different, something I've never read before, but I don't know if I would even like recommend it because it's like dark. It's messed up, but their connection was sweet, and knowing the reason why Teeth like stuck around was very, I don't know, I felt like Rudy in that moment, like when Teeth was explaining, like even though him staying was hurting him, that's the only thing he had going for him, and it just shows like, I guess how one thing can look different to other people, or it can mean that, why do I look like this? Teeth is starving for something, some type of purpose that he'll take even like the worst kind of pain someone can go through, being raped, and live through it and do that every day and stick around because that's the only thing he can feel. Oh my god, this is so sad. And then Rudy of course is like, no, but it's different because he has legs and he can walk, and Rudy has a tail and he can't even swim like that. But yeah, so I'm gonna give this like a 4.25. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I should say that, but no, this was good. Miracles come at a price. So now he's living without Teeth, and like just something about them. They were cute. I don't know what to say. Yeah, I'm gonna give it 4.25 because the story was really sweet. It was definitely surprising. I was not ready for half the stuff that happened. So would I recommend that you pick this up? I don't know. But if this sounds interesting, maybe. I didn't know what this was going into it, so. I would also like to mention that Rudy has made so many sacrifices, I guess. Uprooting his life, he had a friend group, he had a life wherever he was originally from, and he had to move to this island where he had nobody, and he meets Teeth, and being with him is kind of a selfish thing. If he stays with him and he does what Teeth wants him to do, which is release the fish and stand with him like for that, then that's hurting his brother, and that's also hurting people on the island. If he doesn't stay with Teeth and like goes back into the lifestyle that he was living before he met him, then that's hurting himself because he felt so lonely, and Teeth was just like a person that he liked. Also with Diana, that connection was also being tested by Teeth because he was using Diana to get information on Teeth. So I feel like as much as they were cute together, they were so cute together. So as much as they were very helpful towards one another and they seemed like they had a genuine connection, Teeth was pulling Rudy down in a way and stunting his life. And you could tell that it was a very like ultimatum, and if Teeth left Rudy, that it was for the better, even though that's not what either of them wanted. And I think that's a nice message. And like the front of the book says, miracles always come at a price. So I think it was a miracle that Rudy and Teeth met, but it came with the painfulness of him having to leave so that he can move on, his life can go on, and he can stop, I guess, making the people in his life that should matter to him and should be a priority to him hate him. I will see you guys when I pick up another book, I guess. So, long time no see. But I actually came here to give you guys a quick reading update. So I'm currently in the middle of like 3 books, which isn't my favorite thing in the world, but it's what's happening, I guess. And are these necessarily the books I want to be reading right now? Not really, but it is what it is. Alright, so first book I'm reading is Paper Princess. I'm reading this with my friends, so it's whenever we all have time to come together and read it. We're not like reading it separately, then coming together to talk about it. No, we're reading it play by play, chapter by chapter together. Yeah, so that's why it's like taking a little bit, because you know, not everyone has ample time. This one's getting a little bit slow, but we are halfway through, which honestly, like, we're reading it faster than I thought we would. This book is about basically a girl. She's poor. Her mom's dead. Her dad's dead. And her dad was best friends with this rich guy, Callum Royal, and they own this, like, airline company, like, multi-billion, crazy money-making airplane company business together. And Steve said, like, if anything happened, he had to take care of Ella. That's the main girl. Totally forgot to tell you who she was. Anyway, so Callum just takes her, plops her into his house, and in the Royal family, there's Callum Royal, that's the dad. Then there's Gideon, Reed, Easton, and then Sebastian Sawyer. Sebastian Sawyer are twins. Gideon's like a college student, and then Easton and Reed are kind of the main guys. So I'm sensing kind of like a love triangle, and y'all know I do not like love triangles at all, but I am enjoying this. I think because I don't care, and like I'm expecting it to be stupid and dumb. Like, this isn't like a real emotional romance to me, you know what I mean? As if like the Summer Arch and Pretty isn't even that but like feelings were getting hurt in the Summer Arch and Pretty, and they were like good people. But in this book, they're not necessarily good people. Like Reed, he's kind of, the things he says is a little off-putting, and then Easton is just kind of weird. So like I don't have any attachment to them. That's what I'm trying to say, I guess. So the fact that they're in a love triangle and someone can get hurt, I don't really care, you know what I mean? But also it's this thing where Ella and Easton are kind of using each other. You guys didn't ask, and that's also kind of a spoiler, but whatever. But I'm enjoying it nonetheless. I keep asking my friends, I'm like, are you guys on Team Reed or Team Easton? And I was kind of on Team Easton because I don't know. Easton gives kind of Jeremiah vibes, and Reed gives Conrad vibes, and I don't like Conrad, but Reed is fine. I'm just trying to see where the story's going. Like, I don't really care about who ends up with who, to be honest. And there's 5 books. Next book I'm reading is They Said This Would Be Fun by Eternity Martise. I'm reading this on audiobook, and I think I've said this before in some of my videos, but it's just about the author's experience. It's a memoir, and she's talking about what life was like growing up as a Black woman. I think she's also from Pakistan as well. I think she's mixed. Her experiences dealing with that, being a college student in London and being a person of color there, a lot of racism. And then she also just talks about race and gives her experience on different topics. I'm enjoying it so far. I think I'm like 40% in. And then last book I'm reading is The Raven King. It's the second book in the All for the Game series, which is just like the Foxhole Court series. And I'm like 30% into it. It's all right, I would say. It's nothing crazy. I think I gave the first book like around 4 stars. I don't know, nothing's really happened yet. It's like smidge, getting little teaspoons and taste of Andrew and Neil. Other than that, nothing really crazy is happening. Then again, I'm not even on page 100, so. But yeah, those are all my reading updates. Yeah, hopefully I can finish these within the next week, and then we can get into some crazy fun ones, like finishing the Twisted series or the sequel to Fable. I totally forgot I was heating up my wax thing and it might explode, so I'm gonna go. And yeah, hey y'all, so I've tried to, how do you say, film this clip multiple times. Anyway, I just finished They Said This Would Be Fun, the audiobook about college and race and growing up as a person of color. I just finished that. Also, if my voice sounds weird, it's because I'm losing it, kind of. It's my allergies. It's a beautiful day, but my voice doesn't reciprocate that. But it's okay. Anyway, so yeah, I just finished the audiobook. It was good. I don't really like to rank memoirs. I'm pretty sure that's what this was because, you know, it's her life and her stories. No, it was pretty good. I really took a hold of all the stories she was telling, and I just also wanted to know about, like, somebody's experience of being a person of color in school, in college, and like just her story. She was talking about parties, losing friends, gaining boyfriends, losing boyfriends, being in toxic relationships, all this stuff. And I thought it was just very interesting and something I could take into account. Hopefully I don't get ran over. But yeah, I enjoyed it. And then also I did get around 40% into The Raven King, and it's crazy. So basically it's about this boy Neil. He is recruited onto this XC team called the Foxes, and everyone is just so interesting. You know, everyone has their own things they're dealing with and their own weights that they're carrying. They all have these stories and these backgrounds that we got little to no information on in the first book, but now we are starting to get more of their stories. For instance, Neil was on the run for years before he got recruited into the Foxes, and that's because Neil's father was the name that would be taken if like this whole operation goes down. So there's this person called Moriyama, and it's like a Japanese gang mafia thing, and basically Neil's dad was working for Moriyama, right? Moriyama also has an Exy team. He and his wife, they created Exy and the whole rules and regulations for it. So they're kind of like the top dogs, right? So Neil's dad was working for Moriyama. And so I guess to keep the mafia like regulated, you can't have any loose ends. And Neil was considered a loose end. So they were going to kill him. But they gave him this like, they were like, hey, if you can play Exy really well and go through this training really well, then you won't die. Neil's mom, on the other hand, was like, I don't even want that to be a possibility. So she took Neil and like a bunch of money and just took Neil, and they've been running. The mom died, and it was just like Neil on his own, and that's when he got recruited by the Foxes. But Neil did not know all of this. Neil didn't know that his father was with Moriyama in the gang. Where's the crossing guard?
I'm getting out of breath.
So then that happens, right? So Moriyama has, I think it's his son. His name is Rico. And then he has a nephew whose name is Kevin. So during the days that Neil was there to do his training, he met Rico and Kevin. So then when he...
Can you hear me?
So when Neil gets recruited onto the Foxes, guess who he sees? Kevin. But Kevin doesn't remember Neil. So Neil's just like, well, I'm just gonna just not say anything until he remembers. So in this book, The Raven King, Kevin finally remembers and realizes who Neil is because of Rico. Rico told Kevin who Neil was. Now they have this little battle, and also Rico is mad at Neil because Neil stole his dad's money, or Neil's mom stole his dad's money, and he also left before he could finish training.
Is that it?
And then we have Andrew. Andrew is like the love interest. He has his twin brother Aaron, but they weren't always like together, right? So this is what happened. This girl named Tilda had Aaron and Andrew, right? She was like, I can't take care of these babies anymore, so she puts them up for adoption. Last minute, she's like, you know what? I can actually take care of them. So she only takes one, which is Aaron. Andrew gets put into the foster care system. Some way, somehow, somebody finds out about the other, and then they're trying to, you know, meet up and like get to know each other, but Tilda really doesn't want them to meet because she doesn't want her secret to come out, that she put them up for adoption and only chose one. So that's like hard to like try and get them to be together and meet, but it eventually does happen, and then the truth is revealed. Aaron's, you know, upset. Also, Tilda is beating Aaron, and Andrew finds out. And then why does Tilda die? Let me tell you. So Aaron is supposed to be in the car with Tilda, but like I said, they're twins, right? So Andrew had Aaron go to the study group that Andrew was supposed to be at, and Andrew was the one in the car with Tilda. Tell me why she died. Her car like merged off the road or something. So yeah, what's his name? Andrew killed his mom. So then Andrew, Kevin, and Neil are all connected. Andrew is supposed to be keeping Kevin and Neil safe. Kevin promises Andrew that he'll give him a life that's worth living for after graduation if he protects him. And then Neil is going to get Kevin to stay on the Foxes if Andrew protects him. That's just what's going down. That's just what's happening. And I think that's it. That's what I've read so far. It's getting really good. I'm enjoying it. I'm remembering why I like the series in the first place. That's all the updates I have. Little update. Don't get agitated. Okay guys, so I am 83% chapter 14 of The Raven King. I didn't see this coming. The amount of time that I was actually on page 150, like it just wasn't moving. This is very similar to how I was feeling with the first book. I enjoy the story, but I necessarily recommend it. It's very, how do you say,
not everyone's cup of tea.
But I enjoy the story. I enjoy the connections and the relationships between everybody. And it is very sad what all of them go through, but then how all of them come together and pick each other up. It's like their family. I enjoy that. But the only thing is the chapters. I feel like I would fly through this book if this book was paced better. Why are there 20, sometimes 30 pages in a chapter? And why does it take me 3 days to read one chapter?
Something is terribly wrong.
So I just find myself reading for a few pages and then having to just stop, and then I kind of zone out.
But like, it's good.
But I just zone out because of the pacing, I guess. I don't really know what I last updated you on. I know I told you guys about kind of what was happening. Andrew killed his mom. Remember when I told you that Tilda took in Aaron but not Andrew? So that left Andrew going into the foster care system, and he was going through a lot of families, and then I guess he finally found one that he really liked. Foster mom was called Cass and the foster dad was called Richard, and then they had a child named Drake. When Andrew was with them, I think this is how it went, guys. I'm very confused. That's also another thing. I read this and they just say a name and I'm like, should I know this name? I know I read the first book back in December, and I know that I'm taking 20 million years to finish the second book, but should I know this name? If something's wrong, sorry. The foster brother, his name is Drake, if I already didn't say that before, and Drake would rape Andrew. Andrew would go and tell Nikki's dad, Luther, what was going on, and Luther told Andrew that it was a misunderstanding and that that's just brotherly love. That's not brotherly love. Brothers do not do that. Luther, you're nasty, you're going to jail. And Luther prided himself on being such like a Christian man, such a religious man, but you endorse that? That's disgusting. You knew this was happening. And Luther brought all of them back because he basically just set Andrew up. They all like somehow, like Nikki, Neil, Kevin, Andrew, and Aaron come back to Nikki's house. Nikki's parents, Luther, and the mom, Maria, they already don't accept Nikki because he's gay. And then Nikki has this guy that he likes back in Germany named Eric. They basically like get that whole group back to the house, and then Luther tells Andrew that there's a bottle of alcohol upstairs. Knowing Andrew would go for it, Andrew goes upstairs. Who's in the room? Drake. Drake hits Andrew over the head with the bottle of alcohol and then proceeds to take advantage of him. Thank God Neil realizes that Andrew's been away for a while and then goes up to the room. Aaron literally kills, annihilates, decapitates, ends Drake's life. He is not existing anymore. Kills him. Aaron goes to jail. Neil's helping Andrew. Then it's a collective decision with the school psychiatrist that she wants to get Andrew off his meds. So then he leaves, and then the team's just in shambles. But then they're like, let's take this moment to come together. And now they're like a team. Now they're like a family. But yeah, that's what happened. It's very sad. But I like how they're all coming together. I would also like to add that Andrew came out as gay. Well, okay, hold on. So Andrew's gay, but not everyone knows that. The only person that knows that is Renee. She's another person on the team, and Renee told Neil that Andrew was gay. And I guess Neil told Renee that it was okay if she told Neil that he is gay. Whoa. So Andrew's going away to rehab to get clean off his medicine, and he's very weary about that because he doesn't want to leave Kevin. And Neil steps up to the plate, being the boyfriend that he is, and it's like, I'll take care of Kevin. Neil's that guy, and Andrew is realizing that. No, because they keep touching each other. Like, what's going on there, guys? I know you're all supposed to be like this. I love Andrew and Neil together. What? Another quick thing is Aaron held a little grudge over Andrew because he killed their mom. But like I said before, Aaron just killed Drake because Drake was raping Andrew. And so after everything happened, Andrew gets sent to rehab. Neil sits down with Aaron and he's like, what happens if Andrew holds a grudge over you? That's the only family he had. Aaron was like, I don't care if he ever talks to me again. I don't care. I would do it again. I would kill him again because he was hurting Andrew. Neil drops an absolute bombshell. He was like, now you know why Andrew killed your mom. Absolute bombshell. Neil is that guy. Neil will always be protecting Andrew. Andrew and Neil are like this, married boyfriends, husbands, I don't care. Yeah, that's it. Oh my god, I'm sweating. It is not December anymore. No progress in Paper Princess, but I'm planning on reading that tonight, and then I'm planning on finish this either tonight or tomorrow. So I will be finishing the book. This month was terrible, to say the least. This was a terrible reading month, but it's okay. It's okay. I finished The Raven King maybe an hour ago, and I think I'm gonna give it a 4 star. Really? good. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed how everything is developing. This book, it doesn't feel like second book syndrome or whatever that's called. You know, when the second book in a series, typically a trilogy, feels like it's just there to fill in, just like so it could be longer, you know what I mean? Like there's no real purpose for why this had to be a trilogy, but this didn't feel like that. This felt like we got answers, we got more background on the characters, more development of some relationships, and this book really just like establishes so much unanswered questions and so many things that have to get answered in the third book, and I'm just excited to get to the third book. My favorite characters are still Matt. I am liking Andrew. Like he's just been through so much. We met Andrew on the surface in the Foxhole Court, and I didn't really have any feelings towards him. I thought he was just too much. I thought he was just very extra and doing the most, but now knowing some of his backstory and then some of the events that happened in this book in present time, I like understand where he's coming from, and that his ways of caring aren't like the typical ways in how someone would show that they care about you. Like killing your mom. Showing that he cares for Aaron, you know what I mean? You know how you're there for someone if someone's upset? Yeah, Andrew and Aaron, they'll kill people for each other. Bros for life? Who else are like Wymack? I think that's how you pronounce his name. Love him. He is such a dad. He is the dad of the group. He is keeping everyone together. I love him. I love especially him and Neil. The ending of the book where Neil needed someone to come and get him from the airport. Screenshots were taken. Highlights were highlighted. Pages were bookmarked. The page was reread like 3 times. When I tell you, the minute I finished the book, I wanted to just jump into the third one, but I already know if I did that, it's just I need to take a break from it. But I'm really enjoying the story. It's really good. It just takes me a long time to read it, and I really like a fast-paced story. I like when there's short chapters, so this was just a little painful to get through. That's why it's not a 5-star, but everything else, considering the story, the characters, everything that's going on, the mystery, we're getting more clues on the mystery.
And oh my god,
Kevin is Wymack's son? What? Like when? When did this possibly happen? When, how, why? I need answers. Like I said, this book answered a lot of questions, but also raised even more. The only book I have left in this video to read and finish is Paper Princess. I am reading that with my friends, so it's whenever we all have time to read it, which hopefully it's sometime soon. Oh, Andrew and Neil, I'm just waiting for them to get together because I love that their relationship has been building up over the past 2 books and nothing romantic has happened yet. It's really them building trust with each other, and since they both have such tortured and also not normal backgrounds and stuff that's happened to them, and they're carrying so much trauma and other things and secrets, all this stuff, because they're carrying all of that, they're slowly letting each other in and beginning to trust one another and care for one another. Literally, they're at this Christmas banquet. Rico and Neil were talking, and Rico implied that he was going to mess with Andrew, and Neil was like,
"Does he even think about touching you?"
It was beautiful. And you could just tell they care so much about each other, even if they haven't directly said it. I already know. Like, you can't hide from me. And also, Rico cleared Drake's charges or something. He did something where Drake felt comfortable enough to go to Andrew, and that's sick. So Rico needs to burn. Also, why did Rico tattoo a number 4 under his eye? And that's like what Ravens do. They tattoo, I think, their jersey number on their face, and they did that to Neil. So like, who's gonna die? Like, literally, how are we gonna get rid of Rico? Who's gonna pull the trigger? Because it will be me. It can be me. I volunteer as tribute. But yeah, I'll get back to you when I finish Paper Princess, which God knows when that will be. I just noticed the mess. Guys, discard the mess. I'm folding clothes as we speak, but I had to finish this video. Psych! Actually, we're not gonna be finishing Paper Princess in this video. We just haven't been reading it, and it seems pointless to put this video off just until we finish that book.